If they end up suspending habeas corpus, do not go to the second location.
Look, they want to suspend habeas corpus. Start to carry some kind of weapon. If they suspend habeas corpus, do not let them take you to a second location.
Habeas corpus.
The writ of habeas corpus.
The writ of habeas corpus.
Imagine waking up one day and you're snatched from your home, locked away, and denied the chance to act. Why? No charges, no explanation. Sounds like a nightmare, right?
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at.
So basically, the United States government is looking at throwing its citizens, leave alone the ICE, leave alone the immigrants and whatsoever, its citizens in jail and not giving them a chance to plead, to ask questions, to have a lawyer, nothing. You are caught, we put you in prison, we can throw away the keys. And you know what's funny? Thanks to Stephen Miller, he is so into this habeas corpus being done away with, he literally just thinks it does not make sense. But black people are saying, well, even when we have the laws that are governing America, y'all never follow really what the Constitution says, because y'all be pew-pewing us. Y'all be pressing our necks. You guys literally think if a black person is caught, that's it. They're not supposed to defend themselves. But then what happens to people's lives that are not white? Leave alone the immigrants. Because they got the karma from DJT from voting him and singing his praises into power. How about citizens of America that are not white people that actually rely on habeas corpus to protect their rights?
If they suspend habeas corpus, do not let them take you to a second location. If they're going to do something to you, let them do it to you right there on the street. Do not comply if somebody tries to roll up on you and detain you and take you to some other location because you're not going to see the light of day. And now people will say, nah, this can never happen. This has happened in American history. During the time of Black Codes, when they were just throwing black people in jail and people turning up unalived, this just didn't happen to all the American citizens. Now, I know they are trying to say this is for the illegal immigration and all kinds of stuff. But just like we have seen in the past few weeks, it will go from illegal immigrants to legal citizens. And they're going to target the people who they perceive to be the illegal immigrants. So Latin community, pay attention to this. And as we also know, it will then go from that to people of color, black folks. Because if they suspend habeas corpus, they can lock you up for any infraction, any problem, any kind of issue that they are having. They can throw you in the van and you will be behind bars.
If they end up suspending habeas corpus, do not go to the second location. Yes, we have to treat them like that. Do not go to the second location. Because I'm a firm believer that if you give somebody an inch, they'll take a flight. I think this will have a snowball effect. Because, okay, if there's no due process, do they have to report that I've been detained? Do they have to have some digital footprint, some carbon footprint, something tangible to say that I am in their custody? Because there are plenty of people who've gone missing and come up unalive because they were in police custody and they were the last ones to know where they were, but all of a sudden don't nobody know nothing. Do not go to the second location. Whatever they're gonna do, make them do that right there where you stand. Because how do I trust somebody who has basically no oversight over what they do? If they can hold me indefinitely for their interpretation of the law, how do I have my day in court? How do I prove that what they did was wrong? Is it going to be interpreted as wrong ever? And of course, it's usually a suspension and not necessarily doing away with it. But that's the thing. During the time that it's suspended, anything could happen to people. And we already got ICE running around with masks on and not identifying themselves. Some of them don't even have warrants. So if you suspend the writ of habeas corpus, now you're just making the problem 100 times worse. Do not go to the second location. If you have children, especially if you have a black child, keep them close to you. It's no time for them going out to explore, or they out with their homies. They just send you a phone call or a text and they say, hey, I'm gonna be out this late. No, you're not. You coming home. Matter of fact, I'm gonna come and get you, because this ain't even the time to play with these folks. And I'm gonna say it one last time: do not go to the second location.
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right
Let me
Kristi Noem doesn't respect our rights because she doesn't even know what they are.
Habeas corpus is the legal principle that requires that the government provide a public reason for detaining and imprisoning people.
It's because of people like Kristi Noem that instead of us enjoying our fucking lives, we're out here having to learn terminology that they learned first year of law school.
If not for that protection, the government could simply arrest people, including American citizens, and hold them indefinitely for no reason.
Every Democratic senator that voted to confirm Kristi Noem needs to post an apology video. Like, I'm really sorry. You know, you have to learn terms like habeas corpus and due process, and I know you didn't want to go to law school. Like, I'm pissed.
People are talking about the writ of habeas corpus, but what they're not telling you how it's going to affect the Black community. This is a threat to our freedom and our constitutional protections. We already know that we have mass incarceration, and who makes up that number in our system.
I made a video a couple days ago saying how cops are not being held accountable and that they're being put in a dangerous situation, because what's going to continue to happen is more Rodney Hitton situations where people are going to start attacking and firing back at these cops. With this whole habeas corpus thing, that makes it that much harder for cops. There are literally people on the internet saying how they are going to fight back, not be allowed. They're not going to let the cops or ICE agents, whoever, take them to the second location. They're going to fight it out right there on the spot. And if I was a cop, I would literally stand together to do whatever you got to do to convince the administration or whatever to take that off the table. Like, don't even let it be an option anymore. Like, y'all as cops, police officers, not only just y'all need to hold each other accountable, but y'all got to stand up for yourselves. This is your safety we're talking about. Because if I'm in a situation where you're about to detain me, oh yeah, I'm at that point the law is not protecting me. So who's gonna protect me besides me? You see what I'm saying? So it's like you guys are being put in a dangerous situation, and I want the best for you guys. I genuinely do. I just hate how y'all move, because y'all move so finicky and so corrupt. I don't like that. So, like, if something starts happening to y'all, you're going to see people not care. So for your sake, so you can go back to your family, because y'all be so scared, I would go and be marching the streets or something and convince the administration, hey, don't do that.
If the law no longer protects me, then the law no longer applies to me. So if some guys pretending to be ICE or even the police think they're about to come start arresting people for jaywalking, you're in for a rude awakening.
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article 3 courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article 3 courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch, the courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well too. So all of that will inform the choices the president ultimately makes.